Hey everyone, today we're diving into Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse. As a Metroidvania and a roguelike with town building elements, it's a game that tries to wear a few hats. But do those hats look dapper, or should we throw the whole thing in the crapper? Let's find out together! Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that this is an honest review, but I did get a review copy of Nevergrave for free. It's also based on the single player experience. I didn't play with my friends. Let's start with taking you through a day in the life of our witch/hat. It seems like you are a strong, independent hat who don't need no witch. Except you do really kind of need her sometimes. But you can ditch the witch and possess certain other creatures at will, or just flop around menacingly. Maybe it's really the witch's soul that controls the hat. I don't really know who's in charge, but I like to think of them as two separate entities, and then there's some kind of curse mixed in there, I guess. It's a whole thing. The game begins with our hat and witch duo being thrown from someplace by this nose person. They end up in a church with mostly helpful nuns and one really angry one. The church is a hub for dungeons. Starting in the first level of a dungeon, they encounter various enemies and obstacles. But fear not, for there are blessings to acquire, grimoires to choose, and tools to wield in order to augment their attacks and magic. When they find a path to go deeper into a dungeon, they get a reward and the option to refill their potions at the cost of some enemy souls. From there, they proceed to the depths and unlock one piece of the boss door. If it's their first go at the dungeon, they must go back to church. From the church, they can access the village. The village is in bad shape at first, and they need to remove the debris and help with the rebuilding efforts. The village is a safe haven that works to fortify them. With blueprints found in dungeons, they build facilities, production items, and unlock spells and tools. Even decorating the village comes with discernible perks. Once they're comfortable, they've given themselves every possible advantage available, they head back into the dungeon. They start back in the first area, but things aren't exactly the same. The dungeons are procedurally generated. Nevertheless, they fight right back through, but this time proceed to the second area. If they explore diligently enough, they might just find an artifact. Artifacts grant new abilities like air dash or double jump that help them get to previously unexplorable parts of the map. Alternate pathways to the deeper parts of the dungeon are also discoverable. After getting through the second area and removing another piece of the locked boss door, guess what? They gotta go back to church. They can then get any new village stuff done. Slap a couple of chickens if they have them. Don't worry, Zelda fans, its game condones slapping. They won't come after you, probably. And now, it's time to do the first and second area of the dungeon again, get through the third area, and once that's done, they can finally challenge the boss. I will start by saying I'm a casual enjoyer of both of Nevergrave's genres. I certainly get into the Metroidvania and roguelike mood from time to time, but they aren't my mainstays. That being said, for me, Nevergrave is fun. My time spent in the game was on normal difficulty, and I was having a lovely time. I enjoyed the loot for the most part, though I have to say I wasn't too keen on having runs end after unlocking certain parts of the boss door the first time around. It felt really stifling. Nobody likes to be interrupted when they're cooking, so I definitely could have done without that. The abilities and spells were fun, but nothing stand out to me. I liked the possession mechanic. The creatures felt powerful and fun to wield. If you possess them once, you can switch back and forth between that and the witch, so long as the creature doesn't run out of HP, and it was really nice to have another character in my pocket. The bosses I played were okay. They felt more spongy than difficult, but I'm more than willing to admit that was probably because of my builds. I'm kind of a lazy gamer sometimes, and I don't always put a lot of thought into things, but their moves and gimmicks didn't scream creativity to me. They felt pretty mid. The whole formula can get repetitive and tedious. I think implementing procedural generation was a good idea, but lackluster in execution. Things feeling as repetitive as they do, despite touting procedural generation, speaks to that. I found myself having to limit my playtime to an hour or so at a time to try to mitigate burnout, which is not what you want. I want to feel addicted to my roguelikes, not like I need space. Town building and farming was simple but engaging. I really enjoy building and cozy elements in games, so I have a pretty big bias there. There were aspects that felt unpolished though. A standout in that regard is the visual placement placeholder. Instead of a grayed out image of the facility or item, it was this annoying, ugly blob in the shape of the item or facility. It was also brightly colored. It was just kind of an eyesore, especially in such a cute game. I found the visuals in the game lovely and charming overall. I adore hand-drawn art styles, and the animations were well done. Though they aren't without their quirks, some pieces of the backgrounds were blurry, and at first glance it seems like it's done to enhance the depth, but upon closer inspection, it's applied inconsistently and comes off as somewhat low quality as opposed to an intentional effect. Not a huge deal for me. I'm not staring at the background while playing, but it contributes to that overall unpolished feel. Nevergrave sits at 69% positive, oh my, on Steam at the time of posting this. I took a closer look at the criticisms, and I have to say I definitely agree with a lot of them. Some spoke of the game lacking focus. It was trying to do too many things at once. Being a Metroidvania and a roguelike, and then adding village building into the mix did it a disservice. I think that's a good point. This being an all-in-one shampoo probably did take away some of its potential, but I like having these elements together. Do they need to be together? No. I, however, appreciate it as something just a little bit different, and I think if more time were put into tweaking and synergizing, it could be a better mix. The lack of polish in the game, forcing you to end your run and go back to the village each time you open part of the boss door, was addressed, and I certainly agree there. That especially is quite annoying. And when I showed it to my streaming community, it got compared to Hollow Knight, Hades, Ori and the Blind Forest, and a host of other games, but it doesn't even come close to their greatness. Overall, it's fine, but it doesn't knock anything out of the park. Taking everything into consideration, I give Nevergrave a 6.5 out of 10. It's far from perfect, both as a Metroidvania and a roguelike, but I liked it as a casual player of both genres. I'd love to see more improvements and evolution as time goes on, but we'll just have to see what they pull out of their hat. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.